Welcome to episode 90 of EDH Commander Challenge. I'm your host, BT. Now, first things first, I want to give a shout out to every member of the EDHCC family and wish you all a very happy Easter. Whether you're younger and you're enjoying an Easter egg hunt, eating some chocolates, or you're older and you're just spending time with family, enjoying some delicious meals, I hope it's a very happy and warm weekend for you all. Also, like our new graphic, this was pretty much inspired by three things. First, the person who does the illustrations for most of our work here on the channel, Mr. David, a very good friend of mine. Secondly, was because I went with Emma and Mr. Gemi to SmackDown Live for the second half of their Superstar Shakeup here in Montreal, which was a lot of fun. And third, in celebration of the fact that last week we finally launched our Patreon page. Speaking of which, if you guys want to further support the channel, consider becoming a patron. There'll be a link in the description below, as well as at the end of the video, to my Patreon page, where you can have a look and see some really cool exclusive bonuses you can get for becoming a patron, which of course, as you know, helps out the channel even more than you've already done, which we greatly appreciate. Also, don't forget, this is your last chance this week to be able to enter our latest EDHCC giveaway, where you have the chance to take home a foil promo Vesuva. So definitely check it out. There'll be information at the end of the episode telling you what you got to do. Without any further ado, let's check out those opening hands. First, we have Philip playing his Simic style Ezuri Claw of Progress deck. His opening hand consists of Bane of Progress, Toothy Imaginary Friend, Ronas's Monument, Mindless Automaton, Hinterland Harbor, a forest, and an island. Meanwhile, Jimmy is playing his Dimir style Lazav the Multifarious deck. His opening hand consists of Shieldred Whispering One, Bantu's Last Reckoning, Felwar Stone, Notion Rain, an island, and 2 swamps. Jimmy won the dice roll to start us off, and he'll begin. Let's go! Jimmy plays an island and passes. Phil does the same and passes. Jimmy plays a swamp and casts his Lazav the Multifarious. He surveys 1, leaving the card at the top of his deck, and passes. Phil plays a Hinterland Harbor and casts Sakura Tribe Elder, and passes. Jimmy plays a swamp and casts Notion Rain. He takes 2 damage, allowing him to survey 2, and then draw 2 cards. He then moves into combat and attacks with Lazav. Phil blocks the hit with his Sakura, but sacrificed it before damage to go grab a forest into play tapped from his deck. Then Jimmy passes. Phil plays Flooded Grove and casts Toothy Imaginary Friend, and passes to Jimmy while he searches out its partner, Pier. Jimmy plays Nykthos Shrine to Nyx and casts Baleful Strix, drawing a free card. Then he casts Cabal Ritual and uses the 3 black immediately to cast Beseech the Queen for 4. This allows him to add Buried Alive from his deck to his hand. Then he moves into combat and attacks with Lazav again. Phil doesn't block this time and takes 1 damage before Gemi passes the turn. Phil draws for turn, adding a +1/+1 counter to Toothy. Then he plays a forest and passes. Gemi plays a swamp and casts Felwar Stone, followed by Crypt Gas. But Phil didn't leave his mana open for nothing and casts Mystic Confluence, countering the gas and getting to draw 2 cards. This in turn also places 2 more +1/+1 counters on Toothy before Gemi passes the turn. Phil draws, which places yet another +1/+1 counter on Toothy. He then plays a forest and casts Ronas' Monument, followed by Ezuri Claw of Progress, as it now costs 1 less to cast. He then chooses to pass his turn and not bother with his Ronas trigger, as the Strix is still there. Gemi casts Buried Alive and sends Vazara the Dreadful, Silent Blade Oni, and Phage the Untouchable to his graveyard. Then he passes. Phil draws a card, placing another +1/+1 counter on Toothy. Then he plays a forest and casts Simic Ascendancy, followed by Pure Imaginative Rascal, which gives him his first experience counter with Ezuri. He places the Ronas trigger on Ezuri, giving it +2/+2. He then moves into combat and adds 2 +1/+1 counters to Toothy thanks to Ezuri and Pier, which in turn adds 3 growth counters to the Ascendancy. #Super Synergy. Then Phil passes without attacking. Gemi plays a swamp and pays 6 to turn Lazav into Vazara the Dreadful, and passes. Phil draws and, thanks to Pier, places 2 more counters on Toothy, which in turn places 3 growth counters on Ascendancy. Then Phil plays Yavimaya Coast and casts Mindless Automaton, which thanks to Pier gains 3 +1/+1 counters, which in turn places 4 more growth counters on the Ascendancy. This also gives Phil his second experience counter with Ezuri. He then places his Ronas trigger on Toothy, giving it +2/+2. Then he removes 2 counters from his automaton to draw a card, which would normally trigger Toothy again, but Gemi decides to tap his Lazav Vazara and kill Toothy instead. However, in doing so, it allows Phil to draw a ridiculous amount of cards due to the number of +1/+1 counters that Toothy had on it before it bit the dust. He then removes an Elvish Spirit Guide from his hand to add a green mana, and taps out to cast Deep Glow Skate. This doubles number of counters on all of his permanents, which at the same time makes his Ascendancy's auto win effect online for his next upkeep. He then moves into combat, places some +1/+1 counters on his automaton for further defense, and passes. Jimmy plays an Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth, and reveals he drew a Trailblazer's Boots. But without the Crypt Gas in play, doesn't have enough mana to turn his Lazav into Phage the Untouchable, and then cast and equip the boots to attack and kill Phil on this turn. So instead, with no other choice, he surrenders to Phil, ending a super close game. For this week's Cardboard MVP, Phil's was definitely Pure Imaginative Rascal. This card allowed Phil to put on a masterclass style clinic of how powerful and quick a Simic counter-based strategy can work. Jimmy was so worried about Toothy's incredible and quick growth rate that he focused on getting rid of it first. When in at least, well, my opinion, I would have gone after Pier first, ASAP from the moment it hit the field, because Toothy wasn't the only card that was benefiting from Pier's existence in play. As for Jimmy, it was easily his Baleful Strix. The Strix is often considered a staple in Dimir, and not just in Commander, but even Legacy. It's low mana cost, free card draw, and essentially a creature that can block and kill most anything thanks to being a flyer that has Death Touch. Phil skipped most of his combat phases just because he didn't want to run into it. Do you agree with our picks? Let us know in the comments down below. Also, remember, this week is your last chance to enter our latest giveaway. Here's how. Alright guys, we're having our latest EDHCC giveaway, where the prize this time around is a foil from the vault Vesuva. How do you enter? All you have to do is first, if you're not already subscribed by the way, smash the subscribe button and notification bells down below, as this contest is only open to subscribers. And after you subscribe, or if you're already subscribed for that matter, within the episodes of 87 and 90, in the comments down below, just let us know exactly what deck you would put your foil Vesuva into. And if you want a bonus entry, you can also follow us on Twitter and retweet any one of our episodes from 87 to 90 with the hashtag EDHCC giveaway. That will get you a bonus entry. You must be subscribed to the YouTube channel first, and then you can use this platform of Twitter to get yourself 2 possible chances to win. I hope somebody gives this awesome card a good home, because it's always fun to give back to the Magic community. So guys, enter, enjoy, and good luck. The winner will be announced in episode 91. Thanks for watching guys, hope you enjoyed this week's episode. If you're a fan of EDH gameplay and you like whether it be 1v1 or multiplayer and you want to be part of the ever-growing Commander Challenge family, just make sure you smash the subscribe button and notification bell down below. We do weekly videos. Don't forget as well to like, comment, share our videos, but most importantly, enjoy them. On behalf of all of our members here, I'm your host BT. Feel free to check out all of the videos in the channel, join our game, it's now your turn. Cheers!